So, g'day everyone. My name is John Hollenberg. I'm the owner and founder here at 5x5. We are a Gold Coast-based website design and development agency. And on this call, we have got Adam Dieselhuis. Did I say that correctly? Not
it's close. It's close. But Adam's fine.
Sorry, I am Dutch. I know you're Dutch.
Yeah.
I probably should have had some more in there.
That's it. Yeah, it's all.
But we've got the amazing Carla Schesser as well. She's our CEO here at 5x5. So I might just hand over to Adam and maybe just want to give a little background on who you are and what you do, Adam.
Great. Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to tune in. I'm an accountant by trade, right? 20 odd years in the game. But what I do each and every day is really help business owners build better businesses. And the background to that is really a passion for wanting to see business owners thrive, build a good business, live a great life. And I have the absolute pleasure of working with business owners like John to implement what's called the Great Game of Business. So high level, what the Great Game of Business is all about is essentially creating an alignment between owners and employees, where everyone's on the same page, pushing in the same direction towards the organizational goals. And what that it results in really is the framework of how do we help our team understand what's important around here? Mm-hmm. How do we help them connect to what's important to make sure they're clear on how they can help move the needle each and every day and give them a reason to care? And when we can do those three things, that's when the magic happens, that positive change. So, quite often business owners say, well, isn't it always just profit? Isn't profit the most important thing? But quite often that's not the case, because you can be highly profitable, but your income might be coming from one or two key sources. So, that's a risk. So trying to understand, look under the hood and understand how a business actually works and functions and identify the most important thing we need to focus on is a big part of that process. And once that's defined, and making sure whatever you choose is what's important, where people can influence it, then we can start cascading that down so people each day can understand, right, if this is what's winning for the business, and I know how I can help achieve that, and I've got a reason to care, then, in my experience, good things happen there. In terms of that reason to care factor, that can take many different shapes and forms, but quite often it's a financial incentive, a bonus.
Yeah.
And it's sort of hinged around what I like to describe as a gain share. So here's the target line for us as a company. If we exceed that, we're into gain share territory, and we can then share some of that gain.
Cool. I was going to say, so you came, so we're based here at the Gold Coast. You came in for a week. We spent basically a week deep diving into our business, and pretty much in the first day or so, you identified a pretty major issue in our business.
Yeah, that's right. From the what's important around here factor, in analyzing all of the ins and outs of your business, really the key area for improvement. That's how we can best describe it. There's no such thing as a weakness or the area for improvement was around what we described as your overrun rate. And simply what we meant by that is essentially the difference between the quoted hours to a client to build a website and the actual hours it was taking. So that's quite often a common thing where you essentially over-service.
Yes.
And that's what we call overrun. But in other organizations worked with, it could just be around sales, it could just be around client numbers, it could be around gross profit percentage. So there's no fixed formula. It's really just a question of, well, what is the greatest area from improvement? And then in selecting that overrun rate, making sure that everyone on your team could influence that. Because there's no point having a number in the gun sights, which people aren't connected to or don't really have control or say over. So for example, I'd always steer away from profit typically as that what's important metric, because really profit's just sort of something that's very detached from the each and every day around the team. But for your team, overrun rate, the difference between the hours quoted and the hours it takes to deliver is definitely something that we can work on.
So that's what we call, is it the critical number? That's the...
Yes.
Yep. So that was the one number that we were focused on. And
Correct.
through your very nice probing questions and really peeling back the layers
Yes.
on how we go about actually, engaging with a client, even so selling to a client, engaging with a client, each of those key steps in the process delivery, we were
Yes.
able to go in and tighten up and sharpen up a whole heap of stuff that
Exactly.
ultimately is going to move that critical number.
That's exactly right, John. And that's the point. It's like, okay, well, if this is what our focus is as an organization, then how do we interact with customers and how do we deliver with respect to that number? So where are we, said another way, where are we bleeding time?
Yeah.
And I know in your case, there was a lot of back and forwards with the website design. So then the how we actually get clients on board with the design direction in a very effective manner compared to what had happened was a change. So a lot of this then with focusing on something drives a lot of process change,
Yep.
which you guys are now benefiting from.
So that's the second step. So it's then acting on the right drivers.
Yes.
Third step was we built out a scoreboard.
Correct. That's exactly right. So once you have designed the game, then it's a matter of how we keep the game alive. So from understanding overrun rate, understanding how the team can help with that and redefine processes or rework how they approach their work, then flash it up, just enhance the game analogy, right? A scoreboard and then a weekly huddle to talk to those numbers. What are we doing differently? How are we influencing or going to pull that overrun rate back this week? What's the little project or experiment we're going to try and implement this week to influence that overrun rate to pull it in the direction that we want? So that's a really important part of the game. But also saying that those are essentially the tools. Then the whole game's about elevating the consciousness of the organization around that pain point and how we can work together. Hence my comment before, that alignment. So by keeping that top of mind, by keeping talking on it, you as a leader then benefit from essentially creating context. What you've given now is everyone in the team context as to why this is important, and importantly, giving them a reason to care about it as well, such that when you win, the team wins as well.
Which is what you define as a stake in the outcome.
That's correct.
And that's
exactly right.
And that comes in the form of rewards and recognition.
Yeah, exactly. So quite often, that it's a financial incentive. As I said, if we hit our target line, there's a financial payment. That said, it can take any shape and form. There's no rule book. It's really what's fit for purpose. So in terms of that what's in it for me factor, you have the incentive tied to the actual achievement of that critical number. But then quite often we like to motivate the team with little rewards and recognitions around those key activities. So if someone's making a commitment, and I use that term because those key activities as part of the game, that how I can help, are really making a commitment to your fellow teammate to say, right, this month I am focused on developing this new process or executing this new approach or developing this procedure such that it's going to help the overrun rate effectively. And then the whole idea is with some scoreboard and a little bit of fun, we can get to the end of the month and celebrate with your teammates, spin a wheel and win a prize type of stuff. So it's just that whole thank you piece. Yeah.
And then we basically spin it, and Carla has made sure there's lots of awesome prizes like coffee for a week and different sort of vouchers,
books, a bunch of different stuff. Everyone gets super excited for the end of the month to spin that wheel.
So Carla, maybe you can share your screen and actually show an example of the progress that we've made. So the numbers weren't pretty at the start of the process, but very rapidly we were able to move the needle. So maybe you want to just talk about our scorecard and where we started. So I remember when we first kicked this off, the actual overrun rate was 120%, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. So when we sat down with Adam and we took a look at all of the previous projects for the year that we had delivered, we realized that we were over-delivering by 120% on the average job. So that really became our focus number, is that overrun rate percentage. And then, as you've described, we tweaked the process here and there to try and bring that number down as a group. So every single person on the team had a role in doing that, and collectively that all worked together to influence that one number. So you can see here by the brown/orange line on the graph, that's where we started back in, I think we did it end of June, early July.
July, yeah.
Oh, July, yeah. And so that's where our start line was. As we were learning all of the new little tweaks and changes and implementing those updates, you can see that that line sort of sat there for a few weeks, and then the changes really started to happen. So we had a spike once we closed out a lot of stuff from the basis of new ways that we could get a project delivered. And then from that mark, you can see there's a very steep decline on that overrun rate as all of that hard work started to pay off, and playing the game, as we call it here internally, became the norm. So all of those tweaks and changes that we started implementing here just became part of the normal process, and that then had that very significant drop in our overrun rate. So as you can see here by the left-hand side, our actual overrun rate, meaning the actual number that we're currently sitting at, it's at 74%. So that's in 6 short months, or almost 6 short months, we've managed to bring that down from 120 to the 75-ish%. What the blue line represents here, and this has actually been incredibly valuable for the team, is the forecasted overrun rate. So it's all great having an overrun rate for all of the projects that we've closed, but having a forecast overrun rate allows us to project where that overrun rate is actually going to come at. And if that is high, we know that we've still got some work to do on the project before we close it out. So we've got a forecast overrun rate that we look at day in, day out. Everyone's working to pull that number down, and then that influences our actual overrun rate. So we're pretty stoked. The team is really excited to what we call close out the game. I think it's called, Adam, at the end of this month. We're pushing hard to try and get that actual to 70%. If we do that, we hit our sort of top tier bonus that we set as a team. And what that's really done is really get everyone to talk the same language. Everyone's got the one very clear common goal that we're working towards, and everyone has their role to play in bringing that goal to life. So yeah.
Cool. And this was the first 6-month sprint. We were just talking with Adam 2 weeks ago around then what's the plan for the next 6-month game. And ultimately what we're trying to do is then halve that again. So you want to get this in and around like that sort of 30% mark from an overrun perspective. So what this has done from a business capacity perspective is, like, we were with the team and the resources that we had, we were flat out. We were super busy because we were over delivering by almost 2.2, right? What it's done is it's created a whole heap of capacity in the business, not only from a general sort of like stress perspective, so it's reduced a whole heap of stress and pressure and burden on the team, but also created more revenue earning opportunities for the business, which is really exciting. And so that's, I guess, a bit of a high level overview. Adam, would you add anything else into the mix there?
No, other than to say, one of the great game mantras is, rapid financial results, lasting cultural change. And I think, you guys are the pin-up children of that motto at this stage, I think it's a phenomenal result. Congratulations to you and your team on the effort, to get to this point and all of the changes made. It's as coach, it's awesome to see. And yeah, really looking forward to, getting us down towards that 30% mark. It's super.
Just getting warmed up, Adam. So thanks for your support and guidance, and appreciate you taking the time today.
Awesome. Not a problem at all.
Thanks.
Game on, guys.
Thanks, Carla. Yeah.
Cheers.